How do people currently find data sets? I mean, are they just doing Google queries for data sets?
Yeah, I think a typical search for data today starts with Google. What you end up with is kind of lots of links to different places where you can find the data, but it's links to text documents, it's links to PDFs, Excel sheets, sometimes to web services, proprietary systems, and so on. So it's kind of fragmented all over the place, different file formats, and you usually end up, spending a lot of time cleaning up the data and kind of manipulating the data before you can work with it. Now, kind of what we're doing is exactly the opposite. We give you, it's a search engine again, but it's a search engine for numbers and structured data. So you go in there, type in the keywords, and what you get back is actually a visualization. And behind that is normalized data. So you can you get the ability to download it in different formats. It's all cleaned up for you already, so it's kind of ready to use in various ways right there. Right. So I think a lot of valuable time is spent today kind of, finding this data in all these fragmented sources, going to all these different places, and even by the managers and specialists that, really shouldn't be spending their time on that.
Sure. Now with data sets, do you think that we're encountering a similar discovery issue that we're running into with things like app stores now?
I think there are similar issues out there. I mean, what the App Store has done is it's really kind of helped people discover the apps that are there and they didn't necessarily know about it. Mm-hmm. Our philosophy has been that there's a lot of data out there. If we think about just the open data that governments have been making available, there's a lot of it that has been kind of made available out there but not really accessible yet. So I think in this data, behind the data is thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of man-years that have actually gone into gathering all this data, and it's now been made available to us. But a lot of us don't know what is out there and don't know that there is value in that data, probably for pretty much every business, every household, and every organization, if you think about it. And when I say that, people usually go like, how is there data in open data that is valuable to households? Now, data about schools, teacher to student radio, about crime rates, about housing prices, about car prices, and so on. These are all things that are now available in kind of open data, but the discovery part of it is really, really difficult.
Sure. So how do you see value-added resellers kind of coming into this, the middlemen? Are there services or options that they can come into and offer a layer that makes discovery or access a little bit easier?
I think addressing the problem that I mentioned earlier with the sources being kind of now all over the place and the formats being all over the place, the value that is kind of in cleaning up the data and normalizing it, making it easily searchable, even categorize it, put a layer of kind of user comments and user tagging and things like that on top of it, and even helping people that have good data insights to tell the stories that are in the data, kind of, point people to that there are interesting developments in society that you can see from the data. Why is this development happening here at the same time as something else is happening? Are these two correlated, or is it just a coincidence that they kind of tend to develop in the same way, and so on? So giving kind of the discoverability, the normalization, and then the kind of tools, the end user tools to tell stories with the data, so that you don't have to be a data nerd to actually work with it. You can be a journalist, or you can be somebody that is a statistician, or somebody that not necessarily fluent in programming, but can use these tools to actually tell the stories and do all the good stuff on top of it.
So the last question I have for you, what do you feel are the biggest opportunities in open data right now, and what's holding it back?
I actually think that, given the amount of data that has been made available, most of the things that we've seen made on top of it are little things, like apps that, small apps that take a tiny fraction of the data and make something on top of that. They're all good. They're all kind of helpful and great and help us in our everyday lives. But I think that there's so much data in there that nobody has kind of done anything with, not even made a discovery service on top of it. A lot of that data is worth a lot to businesses that can make better decisions or better plans using all that data. So I actually think that what's really holding back the real value there is thinking big, is thinking about kind of big solutions, think beyond the app and the kind of geek product, to thinking about something large scale that can help, everyday people and pretty much every business out there discover the data that can help them to run their business better.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.